So Brother Alawi?
Can everyone see me? Cool. How y'all doing? Assalamu alaikum. Let me share my screen really quickly if that's okay with everybody here. The computer's also lagging, so it's not gonna work. Share screen. Here we are. All right, so let me know if y'all can see my screen. Are we doing good? All right, we're doing good. Cool. All right, so assalamu alaikum everybody. I'm here to tell you all about a very exciting opportunity that Moffick and Ilya are doing together. It is the Moffick and Ilya debate. It's two titans, one night only, 3-on-3 debate. So why would you care about this, right? Why is this so important? Why is this so special? So there's three different reasons to care about this. First is the mission, the second is the debate issue, and the third is the people, right? So the mission, it's giving youth perspective to important issues. So let's refresh what we're talking about right now. There is going to be a debate between the Moffick organization and the Ilya organization in the next couple of weeks. The date is to be announced, right? I believe it's going to be the winners of the high school tournament who will be entering into this debate. And after that, times will be set in order to actually happen, right? So what this debate allows to happen in the first place is you're able to give youth perspective to important issues. You're able to highlight the work that these two organizations have done, and also the opportunity to practice debate and teamwork. So what is this topic that we're talking about, right? What's the topic that will be debated? It's pretty important these days. It's slacktivism, right? Does sharing that post or signing that petition actually harm more than it helps? You see it all around. There's an Instagram post with an infographic on the story. There's a new petition to sign. You got to go to change.org, or a new video that shocks you and you want to share it. However, does this simply sharing actually help, or does it only allow for people to feel good about themselves? If this slacktivism idea or phenomenon existed in the first place, right? Or would not have existed in the first place, would it actually help because it would enable people to do more because they aren't feeling that goodness that isn't really there, right? So this is it's something interesting to think about. So it's going to help explore the phenomenon of slacktivism and how should we actually fight for change in this world. It's going to be a 3-on-3 debate similar to the style you have at Moffitt Foundation and the people, right? So again, Moffick, we already know how it is. You guys are in this program, doing amazingly well in this program. And also Islamic Leadership Institute of America. So just a big background. I'm actually the Advocacy and Public Policy Leadership Director here at Ilya. These past 7 weeks, we've actually hosted the Advocacy and Public Policy Certification Program, right? So our students learn how to make change in their community, working for the Palestinian cause in Congress, and also fighting the prison industrial system on the ground, as well as classwork, lecture, interactive activities, etc., right? The people who graduated from the certification, as well as the Moffick Foundation's winners of the high school debate, will come together, inshallah, in the next couple of weeks. Look forward for an email and an official announcement soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, Brother Alamin. This is Brother Mustafiz. Brother Hassan, are you there?
Assalamu alaikum.
So you want to say something on this initiative?
Not right now, maybe in the inshallah.
Inshallah. So,
I want to say a few words about the Masood Alawi, if you give me some chance.
Yeah, sure.
Masood, you know me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He was one of the boy. He was so shy to come to the debate, and you did the debate a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
First few, maybe middle school or high school, right?
It was like end of middle school.
End of the middle school, and I could not catch you after the middle school. You ran away from me. Otherwise, I couldn't. So, Alhamdulillah, you see how these boys, especially this Masood is doing. So it is the product of, I should say, this is what the Mafik is doing. Inshallah. So you can see what our boys are doing nowadays. So you need to thank Mafik for giving us this platform and training our kids to be, I'm not saying he's the ideal one, Masood, but I can see him. He was so shy boy to talk to in front of 5 or 6 people in my house, especially in the basement, right, Masood?
Yeah.
It was in my basement when you came to my house. So Alhamdulillah, now you can be a good teacher as well. That is what I wanted to say. Thank you. Thank you, Halai.
No, really, Mafik really helped me actually learn how to talk. You know,
Yeah.
I would not know how to talk if it wasn't for Mafik Foundation. So, Jazakallah khairan, thank you so much for letting me be in the program.
Jazakallah khaira, Dr. Nazrul. We should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the strength to continue these things. And alhamdulillah, we are just, putting the puzzles together. So it is all the contributions of, the judges and the coaches are the key to this foundation. And we are putting together because Dr. Nazrul, Sister Faiza, Brother Tufair, Dr. Zaif, and now Adib and Tahmid. And they are the one, the backbone of this structure, of this foundation, because they are the one providing, encouraging people to compete and continuously their enhancing their skills. So we are grateful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this opportunity to be a part of this large fabric. We are just a component. It is like a puzzle that I put together. So these pieces are there here and there, but if we put together in a coordinated fashion, subhanallah, it makes the landscape, and that's what we see. So Jazakallah khaira, Masood and Dr. Nazrul bhai, we really appreciate, and please continue making dua so that may Allah make this as an institution that can help our future generation, inshallah. Jazakallah khaira. So I think Huma, are you ready for middle school?
So inshallah, we'll give them a couple more minutes just because we entered the breakout rooms a little late. Inshallah, a couple more minutes and we'll start with the middle school. And about the question with the live stream, I believe that the live stream is on YouTube. So if there's any problems, let us know as well.
How many minutes do you have now to start with this next session?
Our next session will be here in the main room, so we don't have to move. We'll bring the debaters here, inshallah.
Okay.
Yama. Nah.
So inshallah, it is 2:14. We'll be closing the breakout rooms shortly, and they'll have about 60 seconds before they join in back on the main session. So inshallah, we will be waiting for our middle school finalists to join us, and we will begin. All right, so assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to the middle school finalists I see have joined us. So inshallah, the protocol for our final round will be that all spectators, audience, to have their cameras turned off. As for all 6 competitors, we want your cameras turned on so that we can spotlight your videos and we have you on our first playing grid, inshallah. So I see our 6 competitors here. Inshallah, we'll be spotlighting you. As for judges as well, to turn on their cameras just for our beginning, inshallah. So inshallah, the protocol, everybody knows that when there's 1 minute left, I believe the judges will have a clapping reaction. But for right now, I'll hand this over to Brother Faraz. You guys may begin.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, and congratulations everybody for making it to the final middle school round. As we have discussed, the topic for today is that sports should go on without a COVID vaccine. So we have not assigned proposition or opposition, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay.
Yeah.
And just, sorry, what are the 2 teams that made it? I apologize.
ICM and ISB. ICM Green and ISB, I think Lions.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to flip a coin on my phone, and that's going to determine which team is proposition. So if it is heads, ISB is proposition. If it is tails, ICM is proposition. Siri, flip a coin.
Oops, it rolled under the bed.
I didn't know it could do that. Let's try again. Siri, flip a coin.
Tails.
Tails. So that means that ICM is proposition and ISB is opposition. We'll give you guys 2 minutes just to organize yourselves. And can you guys go ahead and change your names to like first prop, second op, whatever, so I know which team is speaking. I just want to make sure the other judges on and ready to go.
Yep, I'm ready.
you want me to keep track of time?
Yeah, ready.
Yes, Ibrahim, if you could keep track of time, that'd be great. Jazakallah khair.
Is the clapping emote going to be visible when there's so many people in the chat in the room?
You're muted.
That's a good question. Can I wonder if we could pin.
You could type it in the chat. You can also hide non-video participants. So it only shows people with video on.
How do you do that?
You right click on one of the non-video participants and it'll show you.
Nice.
I'll just type it in the chat as well, and I'll do the clapping emote.
So should I start?
If the other judges are ready, your team is ready, you're welcome to begin.
Okay, and I'm going to start right now. Okay. Honored judges, respected guests, and worthy opponents. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mama Tariq, and I'm the first speaker for the proposition. The proposal before the House is sports should go on without the COVID vaccine. As a proposition, we completely agree with this proposal, and we will prove to you why this proposal should pass. So I would like to start off by defining the topic as professional level sports should continue in an isolated environment without fans and a COVID vaccine. So it is way better for sports to professional sports to continue with that even without the vaccine for many reasons. And now I'd like to move on to my first point. So it can have entertainment purposes. So it can provide entertainment for fans from home. Being stuck at home is really boring. You just play video games, watch TV, like eat, and like be in your room, and it's really boring and it's really repetitive every day. But if sports are continued, then people will be entertained and they will not be bored. It can provide a safe and really awesome environment by just staying home and staying safe. That is why professional sports should continue even without the COVID vaccine. Secondly, it affects the future of youth athletes. Lots of people in college have like majors in professional sports. All their effort, they put all their effort in it. If professional sports does not continue, then their whole career would collapse. An example would be Trevor Lawrence, a top tier quarterback from Clemson University, stated in a post, some kids come from bad backgrounds and football is a getaway for them. Kids who put their life to sports need the training and practice for big leagues, academy, college, and young major league players. This can, like, if professional sports are continued, it can affect the future of the youth athletes in a good way. They can earn money by being like a professional football player or basketball player or whatever sport they play. They can earn money, they can support their family in the future, and that has a really good effect in the future generations of our lives. And thirdly, it is it's safe. You might think that I'm kind of weird to saying that it's safe, but it actually is. Because an example would be the NBA bubble. And NBA is continuing the season in an isolated environment, and the players are quarantining together. They're quarantining for 2 weeks before they even go to play. They test regularly and they're kept quarantined even even if they want to go play. If they leave the quarantine, they have to come back to quarantine again. So it is safe that way. And also my fourth reason would be that it is it is it can it cannot like it can help pursue careers. Like I said before, lots of professional players are dependent on their professional sports. If it's not continued, then these professional careers, like these professional players, they will fail. They'll like fail, and they might feel like they're failing in life. They might lose money. They won't have like a satisfied life. They won't think that they have a satisfied life. That is not good. And now I would like to summarize my points by saying that my first point was that it can be used for entertainment. It affects the future of youth athletes, and it is safe, and it can help pursue careers of young and athletes that are really like they really want to achieve something in this life. So that is why we as the proposition are definitely correct. So, judges, I have given you four main reasons why the we as the proposition are correct, and professional sports should go on without the COVID-19 vaccine. And my second speaker will refute the other speaker's points and add his own points. And my third speaker, he'll summarize all of our points and refute the uh, opposition's third speaker's points. And we will prove to you why this proposal, without any doubt, must definitely pass. We hope that you guys will take a good decision. Thank you and assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Okay, now thank you for your speech, first proposition speaker. We will now have the cross-examination of the first proposition speaker by the opposition team. If the opposition declines, please let me know. Otherwise, please go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
I have some questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, so did you define COVID vaccine, yes or no?
Well, I don't think it's need to be like explained because it's
But
really
did you define it, yes or no?
yeah, like we said COVID-19 vaccine. So COVID vaccine is a COVID vaccine, so it doesn't have to be defined.
Okay, but it was a yes or no question. Also, you said that there would be no spectators, so who would pay to watch them?
Well, I mean like it's online streaming. They can like stream it on like apps, like lots of apps, like Netflix or any other apps, the NBC, anything like that. They can live stream, and the league can also pay them.
Okay. Also, one last thing. Since you didn't specify, when you mean COVID vaccine, do you mean it would cure or prevent COVID?
It will prevent COVID.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. First opposition speaker for the cross. We now have the first speaker from the opposition side. You have up to 2 minutes of prep time. Would you like to take it?
Yes.
Go ahead. If you're ready, we can go. You are muted, just FYI.
Okay. Can you let me know when my time starts?
It starts whenever you start talking.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Liba Munir, and I'm the first speaker of the opposition side of the debate. Sports should go on without a COVID-19 vaccine. We agree with the definition that proposition has given us. To review what the first proposition speaker said, he stated that entertainment purposes for fans from home, and that fans are bored staying at home all day, so it would give them something fun to watch. Is it necessary to risk players' health and lives just for the entertainment of fans? There are other things to do. They can watch other TV shows or even watch previous sports tournaments if they are into sports. He has said that being stuck at home is really boring, but health and safety, as I stated, are more important than finding entertainment. He also said that it stabilizes your future and it ruins careers for many people, but there's no point in trying to stabilize your future when you may die or be infected with COVID anyways and end up losing a family member or a friend. And they won't earn money anyways because spectators won't buy tickets and cannot financially support it. And also, what about players' families? They could infect their families and such. He said that it would help them pursue careers. If they don't keep up their career, they won't be successful, but there are checks given by the government to help them get through without participating in their jobs. Also, spectators, not all of them do have TV, so even if this does occur, they might gather in each other's homes to watch each other's sports tournaments. Now, on to my own points. Sports should not go on without a COVID-19 vaccine because of health protocols. Most sports require close contact, and the majority of sports teams share gear. Sports should not go on without a COVID-19 vaccine because of health protocols. We are in a global pandemic. Cases are rising along with deaths, and coming in close contact with any person could be extremely risky. If the players do even wear masks and gloves, it would be hard to breathe. They wouldn't be able to breathe well in. The players wouldn't be social distancing either, which links me to my next point. Most sports require close contact, and spectators gather in homes too. As we all know, COVID-19 spreads through close contact. Even if you wear masks and gloves, it won't work out. Football, soccer, wrestling, boxing, dancing with a partner or in a close arrangement, volleyball, gymnastics with partners, hockey, basketball. All of these are examples of all the sports there are that require close contact. Even with badminton and tennis, which are so-called socially distanced sports, the ball may brush your hair, skin, or clothing. When serving the ball, you may have to touch it and pick it up. Kicking the ball in soccer, it makes direct contact with your ankles, shoes, or pant leg if the kick is too high. You can't wear gloves on your feet. Most sports require close contact, which is very risky for the COVID-19 spread. Sports should not go on without a COVID-19 vaccine. Because of my fourth point, the majority of sports teams share gear. Most school teams provide their students with everything necessary: uniforms, helmets, sports balls, hockey sticks, and more. Think of how many germs could stick to shared items. It's proved in the news that COVID germs usually stick to plastics, metals, and those kinds of things are very commonly found in sports equipment. Players on teams do share locker rooms too, which requires close contact while changing and such. And so close contact, obviously, and sharing items do lead to infection and spread of the COVID virus. In conclusion, sports should not go on with a COVID-19 vaccine because health protocols. Most sports require close contact with spectators gathering in homes too, and the majority of sports teams share gear. Thank you, and assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Okay, we now have the opportunity to cross the first opposition speaker. Proposition team, you'll have 3 minutes. You can go ahead. If you don't want to take the cross-examination opportunity, please let me know. Is anybody going to be taking the questions?
I guess I can give it a shot.
Go ahead.
So, when you were talking about that if you when you go out and play in a competitive sport, it can infect your family. What if the players all quarantine after the game or after the sport has been played?
Usually during quarantining after doing something very social is for like about 2 weeks. And I mean, they do have to practice and stuff if they do go on without a COVID-19 vaccine, as you stated. So if they do quarantine themselves after every single game and practice, that's going to waste a lot of time.
Okay, and you were talking about checks. Do you think that that is enough money for supporting a family and materials and funds and paying off rent and loans?
You can request financial help, and yes, I really do think, because the government will consider your family situation before providing you that check.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Okay, thank you. We are now going to call on the second speaker from the proposition side. You have 2 minutes of prep time. Would you like to take it?
Yep, thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to start now. Honored judges, respected guests, and worthy opponents. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Azim Larafai, and I am the second speaker for the proposition. The proposal on the House today is sports should go on without a COVID-19 vaccine, and we as a proposition strongly support this proposal. I'd first like to start off by refuting the other team's points. She first refuted our point about entertainment, and she stated, is it necessary to risk lives of the athletes? Well, in reality, from the example that we gave from the NBA bubble, they actually quarantine themselves for quite some time before they go on and play in the actual competitive leagues. Now, if they were to quarantine themselves, there's a less chance that they'll have the COVID-19 virus, which means that they aren't really risking their lives when they're playing. And the second point that I'd like to refute is that she refuted our point about stabilizing the future, and she said there's no point of stabilizing your future if you have the chance of dying with the COVID-19 vaccine. Again, similar to the NBA bubble, many other professional leagues are now incorporating this, and they're requiring their players to quarantine before and after games. And again, there is no risk that you will die if you're quarantining and you're properly following the guidelines. And the third point that she said is that you won't earn money. Well, in reality, you really do. The league pays you, and also many live streaming apps pay you. For example, Netflix, ESPN, etc. You get paid by the league, which is millions of dollars depending on your scale, and you get paid by streaming apps. And she also said that you can infect your family. Well, again, for the third time, these leagues require you to quarantine, and they make sure that you follow the guidelines. If you follow these guidelines, there's a very minimal chance that you will infect anyone and that you will become infected. And the fifth point that I'd like to refute is that she was talking about checks from the government. Well, in reality, the stimulus check that is coming now from the government is only $300, and the first one was $1,000. That is barely enough to sustain yourself for over a month with a family of 3. Now, these families have their cousins over, and they have almost families that are as big as 10 people. $1,000 is not enough to feed 10 people in America. And also, the sixth point that I'd like to refute is that she said that not all people have TVs and that they'll go to other people's house. But in reality, is the viewers' fault that they're going to take their risk and to watch these players play and go get infected at other people's houses. If anything, they should follow the protocols too. And the seventh point that I'd like to refute is that if they don't go out and play, it helps with protocols. Well, in reality, they they are following the protocols of quarantining for up to 2 weeks and wearing masks outside. But in the actual game, they cannot wear masks. But that's nothing to worry about because they're quarantining before and after playing. And 2 weeks is more than enough to get rid of the virus and to stay safe from the virus. The 8th point that I'd like to refute is that most teams share gear. Well, in the NBA and NFL, the gear are designed in a specific way to match the team colors, which means that teams will not be sharing each other's gears. For example, the Bulls won't share the same gear as the Lakers because the colors are completely different, which means there's a low chance that they'll be sharing gear. And the 9th point that I'd like to refute is that most sports require close contact. Well, again, they are quarantining and there's a very low chance that they even have the virus after quarantining for 2 weeks after and 2 weeks beforehand, which means that when they have close contact, it's like a normal basketball game, for example. You're just playing together. And the final point that I'd like to refute is that they have the same locker rooms. And again, most of these points fall under the branch of quarantining. And again, they do quarantine, which means that there is a low chance that they will get infected. Now I'd like to move on to my own points. Now, my first point is that people that are not entertained at watching sports will go outside. People that are not entertained will go outside because they don't have anything to watch on the TV. For example, when the NBA was temporarily closed, I was at a park and there were a ton of people playing basketball. But after it opened up, there were not many people because they were watching. There are nearly 20 million NBA viewers, and if the NBA continues staying open, then that means 20 million people are staying home, and this limits the COVID-19 cases, which is the goal now. The second point is that sports help with the immune system, and this helps strengthen the immune system of the athletes, which also helps them stay safe from the virus and kill it off. And my last point is that help pursue careers. This is a big point, and helping pursue careers is the way that they live. Otherwise, that could increase poverty numbers. And that is why we as a proposition are correct. And my third speaker will continue summarizing our points and refute the other points. And this is why the judges should vote for the proposition. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, second proposition speaker. Now we have the cross-examination of the second proposition speaker. Opposition team, you guys can go ahead. Or if you're not going to take it, please let me know. Is anybody going to take it? Okay, I'm assuming that they're not going to take the cross-examination, so we're going to move on to the second opposition speaker at this time. Would you like to take your 2 minutes of prep time?
Yes, we would like to take that time, yeah.
Okay, your prep time is up. We will now have the second opposition speaker. You have 5 minutes.
All right, should I start now? Alaikum assalam. My name is Tanisha Khan, and I am the second opposition speaker for why we believe that sports, in fact, should not go on without a COVID-19 vaccine. All right. So to first start off with the briefing, they said that they quarantine themselves for at least 2 weeks, both before and after playing leagues, right? Well, even then, there are still a lot of factors that are involved in this type of activity. Like, for example, they still have to travel there, and when they travel there, it involves a team bus, right? When it comes, and that still involves close contact. Who knows about, in general, who knows about how many germs there are in those buses too? Maybe the driver has COVID. Who knows? And in general, there's always yes, it lowers the chances that there's, but no, even then there's still a chance. Everyone says that there's less a chance if you clean up the restaurants. There's less a chance if you just open it for lower times. And there's less a chance if you wear gloves, right? But even then, the fact that there's still a chance to ruin, to destroy a human life, the fact that you're willing to take that chance, it's just like so. And even in sports, with something so popular, for something so popular, it will encourage the spread of COVID. It will do, no matter the safety precautions, because people aren't, because no matter, even then, people aren't willing to, I guess you could say, there will be shortcuts will be made. There's a lot of mistakes that could be made. So why do that when there are so many, when you could make the vaccine, where you could wait and make sure that the safety is involved, right? Is at the higher, I guess you'd say, at the higher precautions, at the higher part of the list, right? Because does the economy outweigh human lives? If people are dying, there is no point. Sports won't help employees, they won't get as much money. There's no guarantee that every single member of every single team will quarantine. Players are adults and need to provide for the family, as you stated. They need to go. And another thing, so because like we can't trust it as well, because if there's like things such as like faulty tests, people make a fake test and such. So who's to say that they would even be willing, that people out there would be willing to follow those protocols and precautions? Why can't we follow the safety rules to follow other rules of other countries? Like, for example, in Italy, they shut down everything, and now their cases are actually decreasing. They're at a safer point. So if we keep on continuing with our path just to make the economy, just to uplift the economy, just to uplift the spirit, just to uplift some spirits, does that matter with the cost of multiple lives? All right. And even then, and other various points that prove that is, anyway, in summary wise, sports shouldn't go on without a COVID-19 vaccine. There are so many outside factors, and when playing on the fence, just like we've already seen a lot of examples of people not listening to protocols, again, making faulty tests. So who's to say? And if we allow it, and if we do allow it to continue, then it would just increase the uprising of cases. So therefore, that is why sports shouldn't go without a COVID-19 vaccine. Anyway, my name's Tanisha Khan. Thank you so much for listening to me. And our third opposite speaker will be wrapping it up and concluding why we believe in our statement. Thank you.
Thank you. We now have the proposition team with an opportunity to cross-examine the second opposition speaker. Who's going to take that?
I'll take it.
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Okay, so my first question is, does school sports fall under the category of professional level sports?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Do they? Because you were the prop.
Okay. And my next question is, you say that there's other factors like they can make mistakes, but don't you think that since it's a professional level that they are gonna keep focused and they're not gonna make any of these mistakes because they want to stay at this level?
Honestly, no. They're party.
Okay.
There are a lot of people are willing to risk so much.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Okay, thank you. With that, we have concluded the cross-examination portions of the debate. Now we're going to have the third speaker from the opposition side. Would you like your 2 minutes of prep time?
Yes, please.
Go ahead. Okay, third opposition speaker, the floor is yours. You have 3 minutes. So we'll give you a warning after 2 minutes have elapsed and you have 1 minute left.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hiba and I'm the third speaker for the opposition side of why sports should not go on without a COVID-19 vaccine. To begin off with refuting, the first proposition speaker mentioned that spectators can watch from home from apps and their TV. However, you said they would watch together. Spectators would then gather together and have parties to celebrate the preferred team winning. There's no way to prevent people from having parties. They also mentioned that if they leave quarantine, that they'll come right back to it. Like if they're in quarantine, they'll leave and they'll come back. But if they leave quarantine and then come back to it, obviously they'd need to be checked again. What if they do come positive and that person is an essential part of the team? What happens to the team then? Are they able to participate? The second proposition speaker mentioned that they quarantine themselves for quite some time before going into leagues, but they have to travel there. Traveling to the playing field or area for a professional team involves a team bus, which includes close contact. So who knows how many germs have been on the bus and if the driver has COVID or not. The difference is that there's a chance. Why take that chance if it only encourages the spread of COVID? Why not do the same that to like countries like Italy? They also mentioned that you can infect your family, but you mentioned that they're also still quarantined. But there's no guarantee that every single team is going to go quarantine. There'll be times when the team may want to go out and celebrate a good practice or a good game or something. What happens then? They might catch it then and they'll have to quarantine all over again or a test. They also mentioned that it's the humans' fault that they're coming to watch, that they should follow the protocols. But faulty tests exist and not everyone follows the same protocols. Who's to say the players wouldn't do the same? There are a lot of variables that can factor in for whatever goes on during the players' lives. Now to go on for my points on why we have won this debate. Our first point was that there are health protocols. Sports will only encourage the spread of a vaccine. Since we're in a global pandemic, cases are rising along with deaths, and coming in close contact with any person could be extremely risky. Our second point was that most sports require close contact and spectators gather in home too. As we all know, COVID-19 spreads through close contact. If you even wear masks and gloves, it won't work out. You'll have to stay extra safe. Our third point is that we should shut down immediately. Sports would do the opposite of that. And our fourth and last point was that the majority of sports teams share gear. Most school teams provide, and all sports teams provide gear, and they'd have to change out with different types of gear as well. And now that we have refuted all of the opposition's points and our points still stand, this is why we have won the debate. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, third opposition speaker. We are now going to call upon the third and final speaker of the debate, the third proposition speaker. You have 2 minutes of prep time. Do you want to use it?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Okay. Honored judges, respected audience, and worthy opponents. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Tosif Pervez, and I am the third speaker for the proposition. The proposal in the House today is sports should go on without a COVID vaccine. We as the proposition completely agree with this motion. My teammates have shown you why we have won this debate, and I will summarize and elaborate their points and refute any necessary points. So we define the topic as professional level sports should continue in an isolated environment without fans and a COVID vaccine. So we define the topic as professional, not schools. Schools, like public schools, do not fall under this category of professional. Examples of professional are academy level, like Sierra Canyon and San Isidro and MLB and NBA and Champions League soccer and more than and lots more. So, and also the third speaker for the opposition said that we said that they'll watch the games together, as in other people coming in together. That is also, we did not say that, and they might have misheard. So next, a repetition is that, so after quarantine, and so they say that there's so many risks, but they are quarantining, and after and before they get tested, before the games they get tested to make sure there's no COVID in this area. So the league forces the teams to quarantine. If they break the quarantine, then they can't play, as in the NFL, the NBA, and MLB. We define the topic with isolated environment and no fans. So if everyone stays together without being exposed to the outside of the quarantine environment, there is no risk, as you have stated, and most of your points. So this cancels a majority of your points stating health issues. So teams don't share gear as it is professional. They get their own jerseys, their own shoes, and they all get their own. They get their own gear for themselves. They don't share. They're all together, so there's no traveling. As you guys said, they need buses. The NBA, they're all taking place in Orlando. There's one complex, they call it the Bubble. The WNBA is going to start at the IMG Academy, and the MLB is also staying closer together. So mistakes could be made, is what they said. Well, it's a professional level, so they don't make mistakes, and in the case that a player makes a mistake, they get kicked out. So now I'd like to go on to summarizing my team's points. So they said entertainment. If the sports keep going, it provides entertainment for those at home. People are bored at home. They need something to do. Before the pandemic, many loved sports and, they followed and played and they attended matches. Now, since everything's closed, people aren't able to enjoy as much, and they won't enjoy if it's closed. It is safe. We have proven to you that everyone is together and there's no risk from them being there because they're all together and they're all quarantined together. So, also they said there's a future for young athletes people need. And this is why the proposition, we have shown you why we have won this debate. And as a proposition, the judges, please, you must pass this motion. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Congratulations, everybody. You guys are done with the tournament. It's a good job again on making it this far. I think what's going to happen now is I think the judges are going to be tossed into our own breakout room. We'll discuss and we'll come back and give you guys some feedback, and then we'll probably jump on to high school as soon as possible. So if Huma or whoever can place the judges in a breakout room, that would be great. Thank you.
We are adding a room, inshallah. Who are the judges?
Faraz, Ibrahim, and Shadia. And then also
I cannot open the room unless opening all. Can I open?
So Jazakallah khairan. So the judges will be moved to a breakout room. At this time, if all the high school semifinalists are on the call, we will be announcing the finalists for high school, inshallah. So yeah, go ahead and you guys can turn your cameras on. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Our finalists for high school are the Muslim Munchkins and Muna Earth High School team, inshallah. So at this time, I will be dropping the impromptu round topic, and you guys will have your breakout rooms open for you to work through. So today's topic will be for high school topic on the house. The meaning of a creative work is not solely determined by its creator or creators. So inshallah, if the high schoolers were all able to get this down, and once the breakout rooms are open for the high schoolers, you guys have approximately 15 minutes to work on that, and we will pull you back and close the breakout rooms to the main room for our final round of today. So once you've got this down, inshallah, the high school breakout rooms will be open. Yep, the finalists are Muslim Munchkins and Muna Earth. Congratulations, everyone.
We need,
wonderful job to the semifinalists of middle school. Did someone say something?
yeah, I think they're already gone to the breakout room. We need to send it to the broadcast, I guess, somehow. Should I bring them back?
Right, so at this time, inshallah, all spectators hang tight as we wait about maybe 15 minutes for the high schoolers to prepare. And then inshallah, we will begin back in the main session. So please stay on the call. If there are any other competitors, if you are able to remind your other teammates that we will be holding an award ceremony, and we'll be announcing the top debaters for all the preliminary rounds and the overall top debater for those preliminary rounds as well. So let your teammates know, let the other teams from your group know as well. So we'll be having an award ceremony after the final debate, inshallah.
So Michael, can someone please put the topic back up? Because we didn't write down the full thing.
middle school round is over to the people in the chat, and I think we're going to get started with high school once they finish their prep time.
All right, so Jazakumullah khairan for everyone for staying on the Zoom call and waiting with us. Inshallah, we will be closing the breakout rooms for the high schoolers and we'll be inviting them back into our main session. So again, inshallah, this will be recorded as well as it is being live streamed currently on YouTube. And so if the high school final judges can turn their cameras on as well, so that we can have a grid with just our participants. Inshallah, we're waiting on a couple more high schoolers to join us, and we will begin shortly.
Assalamu alaikum. I had a question. Um, don't we get like 20 minutes to prepare? It's only been like 13.
We can start the round in 6 or 7 minutes. That's fine.
All right, thank you.
So inshallah, if Muna Earth is here, go ahead and turn your cameras on, and inshallah, we will begin with the final round for high school.
Oh yeah, one thing. So at least for me, because I'm hiding the non-video participants. I would personally prefer if there was a hand reaction with 1 minute left. Is that okay or no? Instead of in the chat saying 1 minute left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that.
For Also, Assalamu alaikum to all my opponents and the judges as well.
Alaikum salam.
Hey Faraz, I can take care of the timing and I'll do the hand reaction and I'll also type it in the chat.
Thank you. So right at 3:30, we're gonna start. Wait, have you guys been assigned your proposition or opposition?
No,
Okay, so
we
we're gonna
haven't.
do that first, and then we're gonna start the round at 3:30. So, if it's heads, ISB is proposition. If it's tails, Muna.
Let's find out.
Flip a coin.
Tails.
So it's tails, which means Muna is proposition.
All right.
So how much time do we have to prepare before we actually start?
We're gonna start at 3:30 on the dot.
Okay. All right.
Okay, it's 3:30. We're now gonna start with the first speaker from the proposition side.
All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Tafim al-Haq, and I am the first speaker from the proposition side for the topic of the meaning of a creative work is not solely determined by the creator or creators. As a proposition, I would like to go ahead and define the topic and in simpler terms. We'd like to define the topic as the interpretation of an abstract painting which is made public is not entirely set by the creator of the painting. So in other words, once a piece of artwork, abstract artwork has been made public, the meaning or the interpretation of that artwork is not something which only the creator of the painting can have, can associate or state as a fact. I would like to go on to explain some of the points which we will go into depth of. Our first point is that it is abstract art, like I have defined. Our second point is that everyone is different and that their thoughts can be influenced by several different things. There are a million different combinations. There is no one set, there is no set interpretation. Our third point is that a creator cannot restrict opinions. And our fourth point is that it is made public for the purpose of interpretations. I would like to go into detail of each point that was brought up. Our first point is that since it is abstract art, it is open for interpretation. Abstract art does not have words or does not have a specific meaning. That is the nature of abstract art. As an example, people do associate colors and designs with words, feelings, or emotions. For example, if I have the color red, for one person, red may signify love and a good positive feeling, whereas someone else viewing the color red might view it as something violent, as in bloodshed. So therefore, there are several different multiple interpretations, and the creator cannot solely pin one interpretation for his painting. The second point is that everyone is different. This ties back to the first point. The backgrounds of everyone changes. It's not the same for everyone. So therefore, there cannot be one set interpretation. Especially, it is important to notice that it is the viewer's interpretation. The viewer and the creator do not have any there is no communication between the viewer of a public abstract artwork and the creator of the abstract artwork. So therefore, it cannot be influenced. The interpretation of an individual of this painting cannot be influenced by the creator, or it is not determined by the creator, therefore, since there is no communication. Our third point is that the creator cannot restrict opinions. Simply put, like I said in the definition, the interpretation of an abstract painting which is made public. When something is public, there is no restriction, there is no limitation. Anyone is free to see it. Anyone is free to use it as they wish. So therefore, the creator cannot tell the public what to think of that painting. Therefore, the public will have different interpretations of that painting. And our fourth point is that it is made public for the sole reason that it will get, or one of the reasons why it is made public is because of the interpretations which will come from that. Once again, I will summarize why these points root back to the topic. Since it is abstract art, it is open for interpretation. Since there is no set meaning, since there are no words, it's just shapes and colors, or there is no set definition or meaning for that piece of artwork. Our second point is that everyone is different. Once again, everyone has different backgrounds, which will lead to a different interpretation of that painting. Our third point is that the creator cannot restrict opinions. Once again, since it is a since this abstract painting was made public, and once again, we chose abstract painting because it is a creative work. Abstract paintings are a perfect example of creative work. Therefore, since it is public, the creator cannot determine the sole meaning or interpretation of the artwork. And our fourth point is that it is made public for the purpose of interpretations, to inspire and to open and have the table open for any opinions or interpretations made by the public. Therefore, once again, the interpretation of an abstract painting made public is not entirely set by the creator of the painting. It is up to the public to interpret the painting however they feel, since it is public and it is an abstract piece of artwork. There are no specific guidelines which must be followed. With that being said, we believe that the meaning of a creative work is not solely determined by the creator or creators. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We now have the opposition team with the opportunity to cross-examine the first proposition speaker. Who's going to take that?
I'll take it. Okay, I have one question.
Sorry, and just before you do that, can you guys all just indicate which speakers you are?
Oh yeah, I apologize.
Yeah, just take a minute to do that real quick, please. Okay, you can go ahead. Your 3 minutes starts now.
Okay, so doesn't the maker, the creator of abstract art, by the very nature of abstract art, have the intention to allow people to come with their interpretations?
Yes, that is exactly what we are trying to say. Once again, as I will repeat the definition, the interpretation of an abstract painting.
Hold on, that's enough.
Is not entirely said by the creator of the painting.
My purposes are fulfilled, and I'll end the Q&A session right there.
All right, thank you for your time.
Perfect, thank you. Now is the first speaker from the opposition side. You have 2 minutes of prep time. Would you like to take it?
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, opposition first speaker, you may go ahead.
The time begins whenever, right? I start.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My name is Aryan Sajid, and I am the first speaker of the opposition side of this debate. The topic before the House today is that the meaning of a creative work is not solely determined by its creator. And as the opposition, we are against this topic, and furthermore, we are against the claims made by the proposition. Just to clarify, the proposition defined this topic as that the interpretation of an abstract piece of art that is made to be publicly viewed is not determined by the artist. And again, as the opposition, we are against this. To begin with our refutations, one point mentioned by the first speaker of the proposition was that abstract art has no meaning and that it is meant to have no meaning because colors have different meanings, right? Our refutation to this point is that the purpose, like abstract art, like when making a piece of abstract art, the artist's purpose was to leave it open for interpretation. So basically, the fact that the artist chose to write the fact that the artist chose to use to create an abstract piece of art means that he or she wanted to leave interpretation open to the public. Now, that being said, when an artist makes a piece of abstract art, he or she will always have personal interpretation to that piece of art. So for example, if an abstract artist makes a bunch of circles on a piece of paper, right, and their painting just includes a bunch of different circles, their interpretation or maybe their expression in their goal of making this piece of art is to explain to explain tangible ideas along the lines of, being bounded by a cage and not having freedom. But the public may not see this interpretation, and they may feel like as though the artist conveyed a different feeling. But that being said, the artist's opinion and the artist's personal purpose in making this piece of abstract art is an interpretation or is the purpose of that art. A thing I'd like to point out is that the proposition never mentioned what exactly they mean by determined, right? And so they mentioned that there is an interpretation of art, but determined, the opposition will use it to an advantage and say that determined refers to essentially what the author intends the piece of painting to be made as. And so the thing is that another point that the proposition said is that viewers have different opinions. This is absolutely true because different viewers may feel and have different emotions evoked when looking at a piece of art that is abstract. However, just because everyone has their own opinion doesn't mean that this is the sole purpose of what the artists put. So again, abstract art even has a meaning to the claim that abstract art has no meaning is false when the artist is making a piece of
when the artist is making some form of abstract art, he or she may have their own interpretation. They may have their own purpose in creating that art. But even if the proposition like to stand by that point, the fact that the artist made that piece of painting or that art abstract, and therefore allowing the audience and the viewers to make their own opinion on it and to put their own interpretation on it, means that the artist allowed to do so. And so essentially this goes against the claim in our favor, because the fact that the author made abstract art means that it is solely determined by the creator. And this is kind of a hard concept to grasp, but because the abstract artists allowed the audience, they created this art form to be open for interpretation. That means if the artist made something that was much more concrete, not physically but figurative, as in like the content of the painting or the content of this drawing was much more obvious, then there would be less meaning. But the fact that they specifically chose, the artist himself chose to make it abstract and therefore allow the viewer to view this and interpret it to their own into their own meaning and their own expressions, and basically however they want to interpret it, that means that the artist did determine, and it is solely determined by the artist. So again, the opposition's claims in this debate is that abstract art is meant to be that abstract art does have a meaning, even if the proposition does want to argue otherwise. The fact that the artist allows viewers to interpret it to their own accord means that they determined how it would be determined, how the viewers would interpret this piece of art. So with that, I will take my end. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, we're now going to have the cross-examination of the opposition speaker. Proposition 2.
Yeah, inshallah. Can you have like 5? All right, inshallah. Can I go ahead and start?
Yep.
All right. So the first speaker of the opposition team, excuse me, has brought up an interesting point about the definition. Would you agree? I'm directing this question to the first speaker of the opposition, excuse me, that the word determined can also have the meaning set. Would you agree with that?
Just to clarify, you're asking if determined can be set?
The word determined can it also mean set, meaning it is put in place?
Figuratively, literally speaking, words have multiple meanings, but
it's really a yes or no question. It's really
the thing is that I can't answer as a yes or no question because that generalizes my answer.
If it's not a yes or no question answerable, then we'll take that to mean yes. And my second question is that you referred to multiple times you agreed with us saying that abstract art is meant to be open for interpretation, and the concept that you said was very difficult to grasp. I grasped that very easily, saying that the artist determined the purpose to be for other people to interpret. Now, wouldn't that still mean there are multiple interpretations?
There are again, I'll repeat myself, that even if there are multiple interpretations, the artist's sole purpose, again, I made 2 points about abstract art. That one, the artist himself or herself, when they're making this piece of abstract painting or art, they have their own personal way to express their emotions, and that therefore there is a personal purpose in creating that piece of abstract art. And then again, by allowing people to interpret it, they solely determined how it'll be interpreted. Because the thing is that sometimes yeah, I'll just end it there.
All right, I'll be finished. Jazakallah khairan.
Okay, thank you. Proposition second speaker, you are next. Would you like your 2 minutes of prep time?
Yes, please.
Okay, that's 2 minutes. Second proposition speaker, you may go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Amin Ahmed, and I am the second speaker on the proposition team. And the topic before us all today is the meaning of a creative work is not solely determined by the creators. Now, it seems that there has been a bit of confusion regarding the definition coming from the opposition. So I'd like to repeat our definition one more time. The definition that our first speaker gave was the interpretation of an abstract painting that has been made public is not entirely set by the creators. Now, it seems that the opposition missed the words entirely set. Entirely is how we define the word solely, and set is how we define the word determined. So once again, the definition is the interpretation of an abstract painting that has been made public is not entirely set by the creator or creators of the painting. So now, based on that, I'd like to go ahead and go into our points. Our first point was that it's abstract art. It's open for interpretation as per what the creator or creators, what they wanted to do with it. They made abstract art so that it could be interpreted. They wouldn't just make abstract art for absolutely no reason. And on that point, the first speaker of the opposition team said that our first speaker said that it is meaningless from the creator or creators, and that but our first speaker did not say that it is meaningless. Rather, he said that the creator themselves may have their own meaning, but it is mostly the meanings the interpretations that come from the public that are relevant, especially since it has been made for interpretation. And so that point, that their refutation does not have any grounds, and our first point is still valid. Our second point is that everyone is different. Now, we have roughly 8 billion people on this earth right now. And even between identical twins, everyone has some sort of different thought process. You can't tell me that 8 billion people are all going to think exactly the same. So that's roughly 8 billion different possible interpretations of that single piece of artwork. And the opposition team, tried to refute this by saying that because the artist made it so that it could be interpreted, they had set the they had determined the interpretation because of that. Well, that is invalid because, like I said before, because they had missed that word set that we use in our definition, that argument is invalid, because what we mean by that is that the interpretation cannot be 100% set by the creators. And so since there are multiple different interpretations, then that refutation is invalid, and our second point is still valid. Now, they failed to refute our third and fourth points. And our third point is that you cannot restrict people's minds. People, again, you might think that people, like, you can tell people one thing and then that's what they'll believe or things like that, but you can't restrict what people think. I mean, if you tell me this, like if you show me an apple and tell me this is an apple, I might also see it as a fruit, or I might also see it as something related to other fruits because it's in that same class. You can't restrict people's thinking, and what they'll think about one thing cannot be restricted by anything that anyone says. So that is our third point. And our fourth and final point is that it was made public for open interpretation. And this really does tie back to our first point, that it's abstract art to be interpreted. If it wasn't made public, then obviously the creator would not have wanted it to be interpreted. But the fact that it was made public shows why it shows that they meant for it to be interpreted. And therefore, the interpretation of an abstract painting cannot be set entirely by the creator or creators. And during the opposition team's cross-examen that we provided to them, they said that they raised 2 points, but really they were just refutations towards our points. So really the opposition has no points and therefore no grounds to stand on at all. And so you can see that the opposition is making a very, very weak argument. And so, judges, this is why the interpretation of an abstract painting that has been made public is not entirely set by the creators. Jazakallahu khairan for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We now have the cross-examination of the second proposition speaker. The opposition team, if you have somebody, please go ahead. Come on, guys. Pick one.
Just one question. Just to clarify, the proposition has, and they're going to stick by the definition that determine does mean set.
Yes, set in the meaning that it cannot be.
That is all. I just want to know that's set. That's all my questions.
Jazakallah khair.
Okay, we're now going to have the second opposition speaker. Would you like your 2 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, second opposition speaker, you may go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'm Ayman Chaudhry and I'm the second speaker of the opposition team. I'll first comment on on the points made by the proposition team, and then I'll go into further elaboration. The crux of the argument made by the proposition team is that people are different. People can come up with their own ideas about art. That's essentially the crux or the reasoning behind all the points that they have. So if I destroy that link, then other points are refuted. Now, to their points, I'd like to ask the question, what is the purpose of abstract art? The author had the intention, he had the deliberate intention that there would be many interpretations there in the first place. The other team mentioned, oh, well, when there's abstract art, people may have many various different interpretations. Well, when the author, when he intends to make a piece of art, he makes a certain intention of what he or she is going to convey, the message and so forth like that. In abstract art, by its very nature, the intention, the purpose of what the author said, it's because their intention in the first place was that people would have different ideas about it in the first place. It is because the author had the intention of allowing people to come up with their own ideas. As such, there are many interpretations. Therefore, the influencer, the person who influenced, the person who determined those interpretations, is the author. Let me give you an example that doesn't exactly pertain to the art itself, to abstract art, but will give some clarification. For example, let's say an artist writes some portrait about Black Lives Matter. I know it's not related to abstract art, but I'll link it. So then naturally, because the author had the intention of making it about Black Lives Matter, conveying that purpose, people will go lean in that particular direction. Likewise, for the abstract art, because there are many ways, the author had the intention of allowing people to have to say whatever they want about the art. Therefore, the artist was the one who determined it. Now, the other side, so in other words, the author is the one who directs the line of thinking in the first place. Now, the other team in their speech, they mentioned that determined means set. Well, what does set imply? Set implies the author's hand in it. When they say that the author, when they define it as set, what then follows, the implication of that statement is that the author determined a meaning. So, but let's be, I mean, even though they contradicted themselves there, let's be forgiving. Even if we give them the benefit of the doubt on that point, implies when they say set that the author had an intention of how other people view it. So, for example, in the Black Lives Matter example I gave you of the portrait they made, they had the intention that other people would view it in that particular light. Now, let's say because they foiled their because their set definition for determined contradicts itself, let's say for the sake of example that they instead of determined, what they mean is what the general populace thinks. Like, let's help them out, okay? Well, when they say why of course Black Lives Matter, what naturally happens? People view it in that particular line of reasoning, that particular line. Now, it's not just going to be, oh, this person thinks when he looks at the Black Lives Matter portrait, oh, the moon is nice. Why, of course, maybe there might be one wacko who says such a thing, but if we take the assumption, the definition of determined to mean what the people generally think about it, and which I was forced to do so based on the contradictory framework they've set, then in that particular case, the author determined the definition, the meaning of that, because he said it in that particular line. The way the intention of the author, the way he framed it, allowed for those interpretations to be in the first place. Therefore, he determined it. So now I would like to emphasize that when you look at all of their points are the fact that people can come up with many different interpretations, but all of those is due to the fact that the author had the intention and said it such that people can have many different ideas. He allowed that to be the case in the first place. It is because of this reason that it is said that the author is the one who solely determined what it means to be, what the work means. And it's because of this reason that the meaning of the creative work is solely determined by the artist. If you look at their own definition when they explained as set, it already implies that it means that the author determines the meaning. But even if we don't take that to be the case, if you really examine it, it's all because it's because of the author's intention in the first place, therefore meaning that he did in fact determine it. As such, vote for the opposition side. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We'll now open the floor for the cross-examination of the opposition second speaker, proposition team. You may go ahead.
Any questions?
Yes, we would like to, first I would like to specify that in our definition, we said entirely set, and I feel like the opposition has only taken the word set and not the phrase entirely set, which was our definition. I would just like to point that out.
It seems like whenever I record what you guys mean by determine, you guys, whenever you're pressured upon it, change it. But go ahead.
But still, it was given in the definition. It was given in the definition.
Then you guys say set, and now you guys say entirely set. Okay, go ahead.
Entirely set is what was given in the definition. So that is what we have to go based on. That was the first thing that was said, and solely determined. Since the topic is solely determined, entirely set is the corresponding phrase. The second question I had for you is that you brought up the example.
That wasn't a question. That was a statement you made. But go ahead.
Okay. The question I have for you is that you said that a portrait. You gave the example of a portrait of George Floyd, and that you said that.
I didn't say George Floyd, but go ahead.
Or okay, you said a portrait. You did mention portrait, but I would like to say, and you said that this this specific portrait can convey feelings or emotions, or can influence or sway the viewers to a specific viewpoint or meaning. But does that mean that you are saying a portrait is a form of abstract art?
No, I'm not saying it was abstract art. If you recall, when I was giving that speech, I told even the judges that this may seem unrelated, but I'll link it. And then I said likewise. The main point in my argument was that the author directs the line of thinking towards the portrait. So I mean towards the work, right? That wasn't the point that I was trying to make in the first place. The reason why I gave the idea of the portrait was that I linked it to the abstract art piece. The author, there's a certain line based on what the author's intention and the work, the author directs the line of thinking that other people interpret it as. So then I told you guys that the author's main, I went to his goal and explained how he did in fact set the interpretations due to the very fact that his intention was to allow that.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
at the end, are you admitting that a portrait is not a form of abstract art?
Okay, fine.
So
I did
would that
not
make
explain
your
the
point or
portrait
your
as
example
abstract
irrelevant?
art, but I only use that as reasoning to provide clarity for the abstract art point.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Jazakallah khair.
Okay, that concludes our cross-examination portion of the debate. We now have the third speaker from the opposition side. You'll have 2 minutes to prep. Do you want to use it? Opposition third speaker, do you want to take your prep time?
Yes, please. Hi, can I go ahead or do I have to use all of my prep time?
Give me 30 more seconds, please. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. My name is Mariam Khan and I'm the third speaker of the opposition side. So before I go over why we won this debate, I want to clarify a few things. As my first speaker briefly mentioned, there's a common misconception about abstract art, that it has no meaning and that it's just a few shapes and colors on a page. However, that is completely false. Abstract art is so much more than just a few shapes and colors. Abstract art is a movement. Abstract art conveys the artist's feelings and vision. When the artist has a vision, that is what the meaning of the art is. Even with abstract art, I can draw a few colors and shapes and you might think that it has no meaning, but to me, that can be a representation of my struggles as who I am, right? So just to clarify that misconception, abstract art always has a meaning because that's what art is. Art always has a meaning that is set entirely by the artist. But even if everyone has a different interpretation, as the proposition speaker has clarified in their crossfire, they define solely determined as entirely set. And that definition implies that there is one sole meaning of the art. And if there is one sole meaning of the art, it's not what you or Aryan or Ayman thinks about the art, it's what the artists themselves think. That is the entirely set meaning of the art, even if it is abstract. That is the entirely set meaning. And even if you try to say that the other people's interpretations of the art is the entirely set meaning, even if you try to say that the artists themselves entirely set themselves that the meaning of the art is determined by other people, and in that case, that still proves that the meaning of a creative work is solely determined by its creators. Now we'll go into our own points. So our first point is that when an artist creates a work of art, it always has a meaning. The artist always has a vision, and the artist, while the abstract art might not seem important, or while it might seem like it doesn't have a meaning, it's just a few colors.
whatever the author's meaning is gives it that meaning. As our second speaker gave the example of, if an abstract piece of art has a meaning Black Lives Matter, then that is the meaning of the piece of art, regardless of what anyone else says. Our second point is that even if the meaning of an art is not what the artist meant, even if the artist has no meaning to the art, which usually is not the case, art always has a meaning, but even if the piece of art does not have a set meaning, it's still the artist still entirely set themselves. They still determine that the meaning of the art is up for interpretation, and that is the artist's work. That is that still proves that the meaning of a creative work is solely determined by its creators. When you go in a museum, you might see a piece of abstract art and give it your own meaning. However, when you read that context, that becomes the meaning of the piece of art. The proposition team has failed to prove that the meaning of a creative work is not solely determined by its creators and has not effectively refuted our points. Therefore, the opposition team has won this debate. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. We're now going to call upon the third speaker from the proposition side. Would you like to use your 2 minutes? All right, it's pretty hard to hear you.
Is my voice enough?
Yeah, it's really crackly. Maybe you want to try calling in with a cell phone or something?
She'll be using that.
Okay, no, I can call in. I can call in.
She, can you give us about like a minute or so, because we're in the same house. She'll come down to my laptop.
Okay, that's prep time. So you can still have.
That's fine. Never mind. She's just moving locations.
You guys have 30 seconds.
All right. I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right,
So
I'm ready.
you can begin.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Was there an echo?
There was. Does anyone have another mic on or something?
Oh, all right, sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Noura Ahmed, and I am the third speaker on the proposition team. And the topic before the House today is the meaning of a creative work is not solely determined by the creator. As the proposition team, we define the topic as the interpretation of an abstract painting made public is not entirely set by the creator of the painting. And we would like to put emphasis on not entirely set. Entirely and set go together, as solely and determined go together in the topic.
I would now like to move on to the opposition team's our points. We raised 4 points. Our first point is that abstract art is abstract art and it is open for interpretation. The opposition team took this and said that we called abstract art meaningless. However, our first speaker did not ever say that abstract art is meaningless. Therefore, our first point still stands. Our second is that everyone is different. Everyone has different interpretations. The opposition team came and said that just because everyone has their own opinion doesn't mean those interpretations are the sole meaning. However, we never said the interpretations of others are the sole meaning. We're just saying, we said that it is open for interpretation and the meaning is not solely given by the creator. Our third point is that the creator cannot restrict people's opinions. And our fourth point was that this abstract art was made public so that people can have their own interpretations. The opposition team failed to refute those 2 points. The opposition team, they made the claim that the artist makes abstract art so that others can interpret in their own way. And then they said that the artist has an initial intention, which gives it a sole meaning. However, intention does not have anything to do with the topic. It is irrelevant. We are talking about the meaning of the artwork and its interpretation, not the intention of the artist. The artist can have an intention, but that does not make the interpretation solely belonging to the creator of this piece of art. And then they were also bringing up a lot of irrelevant examples, including portraits, which we defined the piece of art as abstract painting. Portraits are not abstract painting. So the opposition team's entire argument was pretty much based around intention, but as we said, our argument is not about intention. It is about the interpretations of this art. This is what they have failed to show, why it is entirely set by the creator. And this is why we have shown that the meaning of a creative art is not solely determined by the creator. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And that concludes the last debate for the 2020 MYDT virtual tournament. So congratulations, guys, for making it this far and for making this event. I don't know about you guys, but I think overall it worked pretty well. Noura, this was the first time I've seen somebody had to get up and move. So you still did it within the time. So great job, everyone. And alhamdulillah, I think we adapted to a new situation very well. So I think we're going to do the same thing in the breakout room. The judges are going to go back and deliberate. Brother Mustafiz, I'll leave this up to you if you want to begin the closing ceremony while we deliberate. So if you guys can start ahead with that, and then we can jump in later. And I can send I'll communicate in the WhatsApp, inshallah.
Inshallah, that would be good.
Perfect. So if somebody could place the 3 of us into a breakout room, that would be great.
Okay, thanks for your efforts. Assalamu alaikum.
I'll say I really enjoyed that debate. I think you guys, the amount of confidence you have in your arguments is like something for me to look up to personally. You guys can make any statement sound like a fact, and I have to give praise for that. I really respect that.
Well, I think for you guys framed the debate in a very difficult manner, and I think that was also a little challenging for our side. So I have to definitely give you guys props for that.
The team actually thought of adding that the part that has public at the last end, at the last minute, and that was really good for our argument.
Yeah, I mean, I have a question.
This was by far my favorite debate out of all.
Yeah, probably my favorite debate. I think.
I think the thing is, I felt like our argument kind of made sense, but I think because it's kind of hard to explain, I don't know if we said it with the nuances required to win the debate. I honestly don't know the results. And I think the thing with me is whenever one thing goes wrong, I kind of forget everything else that happened. So I think I'm dwelling on the fact that it wasn't clear enough. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, you guys did great.
I mean, I have a question. If you guys were proposition, what would you have defined it as? Can I
Let
know
me
that?
see the paper.
I know you guys like twisting the topic too. I know you guys, that's like your thing.
Okay, I wouldn't say always our thing, but okay, let me see. Let's see. Let me get the. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we were kind of taking the approach. I mean, we were kind of imagining counter that. So I think I was kind of imagining. I mean, I think no matter how you define it, I think this debate, there just by the very nature of it, would have gone in a. Oh, sorry. Do you say something? I apologize. Oh, wait.
We can hear you.
Oh wait, we're in the main room. I completely forgot.
I know. I'm just.
Okay.
It's all good.
Well, I guess everyone can know my insight in the debate. So I guess I apologize.
I mean, this
How
is
many
good.
people are even watching?
Yeah, I mean, it's live on YouTube, so.
Oh man.
Why don't you finish your thought? How are you guys going to define it?
Oh yeah. So we were kind of imagining that the other side would go along the lines of, even if like the other side would say something like, the artist wants to convey some message, his or her message, so therefore it's determined by the author, something, or the artist or the creator or
So
whatever.
you were going to use the word meaning as message, basically.
Yeah,
And we did interpretation, you were going to do message.
I mean, well, that's what we imagine the opposition would
Okay.
like to say based on normal definitions. That's why we took meaning to mean what viewers take from them. So that's why we were
Okay.
thinking, if we define it in that way, because it doesn't say the meaning of a creative work should not be determined, but it is not, right? So in that
Mhm.
particular case, arguments like the one I just said that the opposition could have said is refuted, right? Because it's not within, doesn't necessarily relate so much. But I mean, you guys had a pretty good definition for yourself.
Yeah, I like
I
how
mean-
you guys focused on that word set though, because you guys really did a good job of taking it out of like taking
Yeah, I
it,
felt like
taking it away from us and using it against us. But I think really I'm not like saying that we did better or anything, but I mean like especially with our third speaker, she kind of emphasized the fact that solely and determined go together. And I think that was like one weakness that was part of using that argument of the word set.
Saying that you guys have. Oh.
I felt like
Wait,
I was
can I
getting
say something
framed.
really quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't get to like emphasize this because I thought it'd be a new point, but I really want to emphasize how abstract art causes movements like Picasso's Cubism and stuff like that. But I guess my team like we didn't really think about like different stuff like that at that moment in time. But I wanted to talk about how abstract art can produce societal change, stuff like that.
I mean, I think one part which I was probably scared was when Aryan was cross-examining me and he was asking me like a yes or no question. Like I felt like if I say the wrong thing, the whole argument, our whole argument would collapse. Like, you know, those yes or no questions really get me stressed.
no,
I feel like if you give the wrong answer, it's just, that's it.
I'm not sure why you guys did well. I don't know who won, but we'll find out.
Yeah, mashallah. I mean, this was by far my favorite debate of the entire.
Yeah, you guys did really good. With.
Yeah, I agree. I think this one was the trickiest debate we were in this tournament.
So Jazakumullah khairan to our high school finalists for a wonderful last debate for this virtual whole entire weekend. Just a round of applause for you all. But at this time, I'm pretty sure just triggers that 1 minute now. So inshallah, before we begin with our award ceremony, I would like to hand it over to Brother Hassan for a couple of words before we begin with announcing the top debaters from the preliminary rounds first, and then we will continue from there. Brother Hassan.
Jazakallah khair, Homa. I just wanted to reflect a little bit on the past couple of days. And I think what we heard just now, the post-debate banter from the high school teams, was just a beautiful illustration of what MYDT is trying to accomplish. what this whole thing is about is to provide a safe space for our youth to engage, to develop skills, to grow, to learn in an environment where they feel comfortable with who they are, with how they dress, with their name, with how they look, with what they believe. And that this space is an incubator. It's a place where our youth can come at a young age and not feel the pressures, the burdens of what they are and who they are, but can embrace that and can be in a community of people that embrace that about them. This is really, I think, the magic of MYDT. And alhamdulillah, this is why I don't have any children in MYDT, but this is why I put so much time into it. And I don't put nearly as much time as many of the other people do. And so I really want to highlight the fact that what we saw today and yesterday was, excellent communication, excellent skills, excellent debate, excellent quick, thinking on your feet. So many logic, critical thinking, communication, ability to create an argument, ability to refute. We saw this in display really at a very, very high level with children who are very young. And so, this is what MYDT is all about. But beyond that, as we saw with the banter, there were no hard feelings. These kids were all, friendly towards each other. They were encouraging each other. They were friends at the end of the day. And this is why MYDT is a community. And this is really a safe space, and we want to keep it that way. We've seen in front of our eyes, we saw the video during the break of, a young Faraz, a young, I think it was Omar Farouk. We saw the young brother who spoke for Ilya, Masood. These are the products of MYDT. These children have developed into young people, have taken leadership roles, and we see before our eyes what can happen if when these kids grow up in MYDT. We were having a discussion in the middle school, one of the middle school debates with the two judges, I think it was Shadia and Omar, and how much MYDT has helped them develop their confidence, developed their ability to speak and be out in the world as productive citizens, their ability to do well even in practical terms on job interviews, etc., on SATs. This is what MYDT is about, and it all starts with community. It all starts with a safe space. Now, the reason I bring this up is because we had a lot of negativity earlier today, and we have it every year. And I believe this really is toxic and it poisons the well. Now, what we need to be, and what I want to emphasize is it's not coming from the kids, it's not coming from the debaters, it's coming from our adults. So really, I want to emphasize to our adults, to our parents, life is life. And one of maybe the biggest lessons we're going to learn, our kids are going to learn from MYDT, beyond logic, beyond critical thinking, beyond speaking, is how to deal with what life throws at you. If we take what happens at MYDT in a negative light, our kids are going to be turned off by everything they spent their summer developing, and they're going to throw it all out. They're going to throw out all their reasoning skills. They're going to throw out all their abilities that they've developed, all the excitement they've had. These kids we saw, these leaders we saw, people like Homa, Shadia, Faraz, Masood, that we saw today, they even the debaters that we just witnessed, they were not discouraged. They did not go, their goal coming to MYDT year by year was not to be the champion. It was to gain those skills and interpret them and incorporate them into their lives and use those skills. And that's why they weren't winning every year for the past 8 years, however many years they did it. But what they weren't winning the tournament, but they were winning the life skills. And because of that, they were able to use that. Now it's up to us adults to encourage that, to foster that, to say, hey, look, things happen. Maybe for whatever reason, you didn't make it this time. If the parents are going to be out there, expressing negativity, the kids are going to channel that, they're going to absorb that, and it's going to destroy whatever they built. If the adults turn that around and explain to their kids, how to deal with real life situations, and that what you learned is valuable. It's a lot more valuable than anything you'll ever, like the Sister Faiza said, the $10 trophy or whatever. And then these skills are what you can apply year after year to develop yourself. So really, please, I'm asking our adults to not be so negative, and because it's okay if we're negative amongst ourselves, but when we do it in front of our kids, it poisons them. It's very destructive to them, and it throws away whatever they've developed throughout this summer. The other last thing, I hate being on a soapbox, but I really, this morning, I felt like this really had to be said. In civilized societies defer to their jurists. The society we live in right now, the Supreme Court, on the vast majority of cases, disagrees. These are some of the finest, most respected jurists in the country. And there's very, very few cases that they have unanimous agreements on. Why is that? Because it's the nature of jurisprudence is subjective. So, but what does the country do? The country goes along with it because it's a civilized nation. They don't ask for revolution if their side didn't win. Look at the 2000 election with Al Gore. Al Gore lost that election because of a Supreme Court decision. Whether he should have won it or not is a different question. But what did he do? He didn't ask for a revolution. What he did was gracefully accepted, congratulated George Bush, exited the scene, and created a whole new amazing life for himself. Why can't we learn from that? Why can't we do that? Why do we always have to be so negative, so abrasive, so angry when things don't go our way? I really didn't want to go down this route, but I really felt like it had to be said, and nobody was saying it, so I really wanted to take this opportunity to say it. Again, amazing job by all the debaters yesterday and today. I can't thank our coaches enough. We cannot do this without our coaches. We cannot thank our judges enough. The judges have been incredible. They spend so much time, and these are very, very difficult positions. The judges want everyone to win, obviously, but the line has to be drawn somewhere, and they've done a phenomenal job drawing that line. I want to thank our debaters and their families first and foremost for spending the time to do this, to make this something that's you. It's called My Debate. My means you, not just Muslim youth. This is about you. This is about your future, and what you do with it is up to you. So, so with that, I'm going to hand it back, and assalamu alaikum.
Jazakumullah khairan, Brother Hassan. So inshallah, as of now, we will move into our award ceremony. So, if all competitors from preliminary rounds, semifinal rounds, and all finalists, if you are in the call, feel free to put your Zoom cameras on so that both when we are acknowledging each of the participants who won an award, we will have you put your camera on as well. So during that moment, so inshallah, I will share my screen. So I also wanted to try something. So let's see if I can have some nasheed playing as well. Hopefully you guys can hear me at the same time. All right, let's do that. So again, a big congratulations to everyone who made this possible, all our competitors, our judges, the coaches, like Brother Hassan already mentioned. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's begin with our 2020 awards. So we will start off with our preliminary round top debaters. So this was overall, we're not going to say from preliminary round 1, 2, 3, just overall from all 4 for who the judges chose were the top debaters. For middle school, we have congratulations to Asma Abbas. She is here. Go ahead and
Gönüllerde
turn your camera on.
hasretin var,
I'll let you
yürekler aşkınla çarpar. Sensiz dünya bizlere dar. Selam sana ey kutlu yar. With submission, faith and patience, you conveyed the noble message, brought us light through your guidance. Peace be upon you, my beloved. Ya Habibi, Ya Muhammad, Ya Nabi, salam alayka. Ya Rasul, salam alayka. Ya Habib, salam alayka. Salawatullah alayka. Ya Nabi, salam alayka. يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك.
We have Hiba Mahmoud.
This is Faraz. I don't know if you can hear me, but is it possible to turn the nasheed down just a little bit? We can't really hear.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
तेरी मोहब्बत की महक से ये ज़मीन व आसमां आबाद है रहमत की.
I'm not sure if it's going to turn down, but we'll just leave it like this for right now. Hiba Mahreen again with the lionesses. We have Ammar Saeed. Ammar Saeed. Yep. So spectators, audiences, if you guys are here and you see your team members up here as well, feel free to unmute yourself. We have Zohaib Saeed. Congratulations. We have Nabir Hassan. So congratulations, Nabir. Ahnaf Hussein. They're not here. We have Rayan Kadir. Yeah, congratulations, Rayan. We have Nuha Nadim. Congratulations, Nuha. Selma Bey. Congratulations to Selma. We have Sabrine Niamatullah. Congratulations. And that wraps it up for the top debaters of middle school. Going into high school, our top debaters, we have Noor Ahmed, who is one of our today. So she was one of our top debaters in the preliminary rounds. We have Samit Ahmed. Congratulations, Samit. We have Khadija Ahmed. So congratulations, Khadija. Amin Ahmed, again, as well, was one of our finalists who got top debater in our preliminary rounds as well. We have Arib Ghani. Congratulations. We have Sean Brunson. Congratulations, Sean. We have Mara Al-Mala. Congratulations, Mara. We have Nia Yusuf. Nia! Congratulations. And we have Zaid Mahafuz. Congratulations. Now, our two top debaters from all 4 preliminary rounds, we would like to announce our middle school overall top debater is, we give a drum roll, is Azimullah Rifai. So congratulations to Azimullah from ICM Green. He was also one of our finalists, but from 4 preliminary rounds, we have Azimullah Rifai. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And from high school, we have Ayman Chowdhury.
Yeah.
Ayman, again, another one of our, from our 4 preliminary rounds. So at this point, we will be announcing our middle school champions and runner-ups. So inshallah, I will be handing this over to Brother Faraz, who was the judge for both final rounds, and he will take it from here.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, so how tired is everybody feeling? Good? Energy up? After 2 full days of debating nonstop? Cool. So yeah, I think we'll get right to it, inshallah. So you guys did an excellent job here. So when I was in MYDT, I don't think we did many, if any, impromptu topics when I first started, and they scare me so much. And I'm glad that, you know, all you guys are able to take these topics, sitting around with people that aren't next to you, like communicating with them online and being able to do that. I guess you guys must have done it 4 separate times now, for those who made it to the finals. So that's impressive. And that's kind of what we're trying to build here, right? You know, a lot of people can do research and they can write an article about something, which is great. But the real thing that makes a debater is being able to think on the fly, right? When you don't have preparation, when you don't have, I know we did have the internet, but like, you know, when you don't have your phone on you, when somebody talks to you in the street, right? We need to be prepared for all the situations that we see. Same thing in our jobs, right? We're not going to have the opportunity to kind of, you know, address every opportunity with proper preparation. We're going to have to be able to, in a meeting when the situation arises, be able to solve problems, think of solutions, analyze the data that we have and the things that we know to come up with solutions faster and better than, you know, people who don't have that experience. So I think that's the key thing that I want you guys to take away, is that you guys are building skill sets, right? You know, I mean, this is a competition, but what you guys are learning, I did this, I don't know how many times I competed. I only won MYDT once. And the other times there was always something, right? Oh no, this team, this judge, whatever. But I cannot tell you how much better off I am in my life and in my school, from all the way from high school, college to becoming a professional, based on the stuff that I first learned and came across in MYDT. So with that being said, this is a competition. So I don't like announcing runner-ups. So because then, you know, it takes the wind away from the sail. So we're just going to go ahead and announce the winner of the middle school side. And that middle school winner is ICM Green, which was the proposition for
Hooray!
that team. So congratulations, guys. You guys did a really good job. The best speaker from ICM Green, and in that round was the first speaker, Mohammed Tariq. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And final drum roll for the high school round, the debate that you guys just saw. The winner for that round was Muna Earth. Congratulations.
Let's go.
14
years.
The speaker was given to the second speaker, Amin Ahmed. So good job. And congratulations, guys. And good job to the runner-ups as well. These were competitive.
Congratulations, ISB, on getting second place.
You guys were fantastic.
So congratulations to all teams and everybody who competed, all competitors who made this possible, all the judges who helped. You know, they volunteered their weekends as well to wake up early with us and volunteer their time to help us. At this point, if Brother Hassan or any of the judges, coaches would like to say anything, feel free. Even competitors, you guys can go ahead and say something. The floor is open. Anybody want to say anything?
About
congratulations.
The gift awards, will be sending them. Can you...
All right, also, yeah, so the awards and certificates will be sent virtually, and awards will be sent to the teams as well with due time. Inshallah, we'll be sending emails with that information. So please do look forward to that. So congratulations to everyone. This was a very successful weekend. We had no idea, we were coming into this very blindly. We had no idea how debate would work virtually. You know, it's kind of unheard of. Nobody really ever did debate virtually before, and it was a great success, alhamdulillah. So, yep, congratulations.
One question: Who is the best debater in the final round?
It was you, my good man. Congratulations.
Okay.
Sir, congrats, guys.
Oh, okay. Jazakallah khairan.
So with that,
Well done, Amin. Well done.
Jazakallah khairan.
congratulations to everyone. With that, that wraps up our 2-day weekend. Thank you for sticking through it with us. Thank you for going through any technical issues that we had, waiting with us with the breakout rooms, everything that happened this whole entire weekend. So Jazakumullah khairan to everyone. Congratulations to all our competitors, and we will see you, inshallah, debate 2021, which inshallah will be in person. So Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you. Jazakallah khairan.
Assalamu warahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Team NSN and VHS is from Tennessee.
Let's turn it off.
Alaikum.
Salam. See you guys next year, inshallah. Hopefully in person.
Inshallah. So Huma, next year don't say brother Mustafiz, please.
Okay, inshallah.
Brother Mustafiz Bulion.
Am I right, brother?
Congratulations.
I'm calling brother Mustafiz and Huma is saying brother Mustafiz. What should I do?
So let's debate. Let's make it a debate topic.
Oh.
Who to blame?
Uncle.
Who to blame? The topic is who to blame.
Jazakallah khairan, Mustafiz and brother Hassan, subhanallah, tireless time and efforts actually to make this happen. And Faraz as well. Faraz, you know, it's just a public place. If something happen, always, you know, wherever you go, nothing is neat and tidy.
Of course, never.
Yeah, so people are throwing the chair in the parliament, right? We did not do that.